Belarus authoritarian leader Alexander Lukashenko took office as president for the seventh term in an inauguration ceremony in the capital Minsk on Tuesday. According to Associated Press, members of the political opposition, many of whom are imprisoned or exiled abroad by Lukashenko's unrelenting crackdown on dissent and free speech, said the January election was a sham much like the last one in 2020 that triggered months of protests that were unprecedented in the history of the country of 9 million people. Since then, more than 65,000 people were arrested and 1,000s beaten, with the crackdown bringing condemnation and sanctions from the West. The European Union rejected the election outcome, calling it illegitimate and threatened new sanctions. In his inauguration speech, Lukashenko accused the opposition of working for Western funding and putting the country at risk by their masters for sanctions and bombs. Half the world dreams of our dictatorship, a dictatorship of real deeds and interests of our people. And everything is fine here with freedom of speech. We have more democracy than those who call themselves its standard, he said at the ceremony. Lukashenko has been in power since 1994 and has ruled the country with an iron fist. He has relied on subsidies and political support from Russian President Vladimir Putin, himself in office for a quarter century, a relationship that helped him survive the 2020 protests. Lukashenko allowed Moscow to use the country's territory to invade Ukraine in 2022 and later hosted some of Russia's tactical nuclear weapons. Leading opponents have fled abroad or were thrown in prison. Activists say the country holds nearly 1,300 political prisoners, including Nobel Peace Prize laureate Ales Bialiatski, founder of the Vyazna Human Rights Center. Since July, Lukashenko has pardoned more than 250 people. At the same time, authorities have sought to uproot dissent by arresting hundreds more in raids targeting relatives and friends of political prisoners.
Президент Республики Беларусь Александр Григорович Лукашенко.
Заступаючи на посаду президента Республіки Білорусь, урочисто клянуся вірно служити народу Республіки Білорусь, поважати, аховувати прави і свободи чоловіка і громадянина. Дорогие соотечественники, уважаемые гости, расследование новой администрации Трампа вскрыло вопиющие случаи финансирования USAID и NATO, госпереворотов и цветных революций по всему миру, в том числе в Беларуси в 2020 году. Помните этот мятеж? Благодаря вам, продавшим Родину за эти гранты, а точнее вопреки, мы стали сильнее. Потому что бережем мир, который вы ставите под угрозу, обеспечиваем благополучие, которое вы ставите под удар, выпрашивая у своих хозяев санкции и бомбы. Государственная модель развития стала вызовом системы. У вас нет и не будет поддержки, у вас нет будущего. Вам и вашим кураторам нечего противопоставить нашему единству. Скажу больше. Полмира мечтает о нашей диктатуре, диктатуре реальных дел и интересов наших людей. И со свободой слова у нас все в порядке. Демократия у нас побольше, чем у тех, кто называет себя ее эталоном. Чтобы Беларусь шагнула вперед, в будущее. Крепкая. Каждый в Беларуси имеет конституционное право и возможность высказаться. Но не нужно призывать уничтожить все, что создано многими поколениями белорусов. Мы не позволим использовать свободу слова как дубину для разрушения собственной страны.
Итак, глава государства Александр Лукашенко, президента Республики Беларусь. Мы также услышали с вами инаугурационную речь.
The Ukrainian armed forces continue to advance in the border zone of the Belgorod region and have taken control of the village of Demidovka in the Krasnoyarsk district. This was reported by Russian military bloggers on Telegram. As we were informed, unfortunately, the Ukrainian armed forces entered Demidovka. They did not consolidate. Fighting is ongoing, writes Z-blogger Kirill Fedorov. The Alex Parker Returns channel clarifies that Demidovka is still occupied by Ukrainian forces. Our units have retreated, he adds. Military blogger Vladimir Romanov agrees with him. Demidovka is a temporarily occupied territory of Russia by Ukraine. The settlement is under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. The forces holding the settlement simply left it, as a result of which the enemy occupied the settlement. The moment when the enemy demined the road to the settlement and the moment when the enemy's engineering equipment took away the dragon's teeth were also missed, writes Romanov, and adds that Russian troops are trying to recapture the village. The channel Military Informant complains that, as in the case of the first days in the Kursk region, the Ukrainian armed forces are diligently maintaining silence about the operation being carried out, which does not allow one to accurately understand the situation on the ground. According to the author of the channel, Ukraine is seriously determined to create a new point of tension for the Russians in exchange for the almost completely lost bridgehead in the Kursk region. In this regard, the blogger expects the transfer of new Ukrainian reinforcements to the Belgorod region. At the same time, some Russian Z-bloggers are trying to calm their audience and claim that Russian fire departments carried out a successful counterattack and recaptured the village. At the same time, there is no objective control footage from the scene of the events yet, so it is impossible to either confirm or deny the reports of Russian military bloggers. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has not yet confirmed the entry of Ukrainian units into the territory of the Belgorod region. As media reported, since March 18, the Russian side has been reporting battles in the Krasnoyarsk district of the Belgorod region. In particular, the Russian Defense Ministry reported the failure of a Ukrainian provocation against the backdrop of telephone conversations between Trump and Putin. Yesterday, Russian Z-bloggers whined about the difficult situation in the Belgorod border area and even declared a threat of encirclement of Russian units in the area of the villages of Grafovka and Demidovka.